Dan, are you ready? We can get this party started.
Let's get into it.
All right, awesome. So, hey everybody, good afternoon. Welcome to the Silicon Plains AI webinar series. Today, we're going to dive into how to use AI to supercharge your marketing. Before we get started, just real quick reminder that if you have any questions, you can raise your hand or submit questions for the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. We can try and answer them as we go, or just save them for the Q&A section at the end. With that, we promise you guys the best 15 minutes in cybersecurity, and that is exactly what we're going to do. So, as we get started here, before we kind of get into the thick of it, I want you to think about using Copilot in a couple of ways. So, first way, I want you guys to kind of picture it, visualize it, using it inside of existing functions already, or using it completely separate on its own, like we've shown in a couple of other webinars. And we'll demo that a bit at the end. But Dan, was there anything you wanted to add into before we start looking at the AI functions that
Yeah, I
you can
think
do
I
already?
think one of the things that we'll both have to remind each other to do, and I'll jump in if it's starting to, veer off course a little bit, is be constantly visualizing and helping people who are on visualize what we're talking about. 'Cause sometimes when a person just says, use your AI, you need to, give a person some context about what do you mean? Are you sitting down to use Copilot separately? Are you using the AI that might be built into a piece of software? So I think the more that we can make sure that, especially with marketing, where so much of the data is hidden, that we're talking about, okay, remember, you sat down, you started using Copilot. This is what you can type in a prompt to make it do for you, or whatever it happens to be, for an example.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll start with kind of just some basic what marketing functions can AI do well right now? So the first function I want to talk about is just ideas, right? You hear people refer to ideation all the time. Right now, Copilot is incredibly good at creating plans, systems, and messaging that can be as specific and as advanced as you want it to be, or they can be more general. What are the best practices in my industry, right? It's a great way to come up with a lot of ideas, to test a lot of things, to think a lot of things through that, to be frank, most people just don't have time to do all the time, right? So it's a great way to just brainstorm ideas, come up with new marketing plans. That's something we'll actually demo here at the end a little bit, how it can create good marketing strategies from scratch. Second part of that is the actual content creation itself. So, of course, if you're on LinkedIn, you see a bunch of very not good AI generated content creation, but it goes
True
so
story.
much beyond just the Copilot, check mark and the ChatGPT check mark at the beginning of every message, right? It can create social posts, blogs, even interactive web banners, really everything content that you need in whatever format you need it to be in. And that's actually probably the coolest part of it, especially when we start talking about how it integrates into other things. And the third function we're going to touch on just a little bit is that you can actually use AI to build more complicated things, right? It's not just creating text for you to copy and paste into other things. It can already build workflows, help automate lead generation, and not to, throw myself too far under the bus here, but it can create webinars, right? A lot of the content that we show here is we get started running it through AI, kind of seeing what that looks like. But the coolest part about some of these more advanced actions is it can be built fully automated and integrated into systems you're already using, right? You don't need to switch out everything you've been doing and start from scratch, although you can.
I can't wait to meet AI Damien.
He's gonna be better is the only problem, right? So hopefully it takes a little while for you to meet him. So the first thing we're going to talk about a little bit is we're going to talk about how you can integrate AI right now to speed up the marketing in things that you already have. You don't need to start AI marketing from scratch. So the first thing I want you guys to think about is how you can train an AI right now to do some of the things, some of these, functions that we've talked about. So when we talk about training, we're referring back to kind of a whole webinar series that we had done a couple of months ago on training AI. But what does that actually look like? How do you actually do that, right? So I want you to picture you are looking at your marketing software, whatever program you're using right now, and you've got Copilot either built into it already, it's off to the side. If that's not something you've got turned on, hey, we can turn that on for you. It's not something that's super hard to do. This can be done, right out of the box. But what you're going to want to do when you train it is you can load up all of your existing content into Copilot. Maybe it's a link to all of your blogs. Maybe it's a link to your website. Maybe it's just your LinkedIn URL, right? That you can toss in there and have it create all kinds of new social media posts for you. It can even be something as complicated as here's access to our email workflows. Make me a A/B test for different
Yeah.
messaging to do that. Yeah, you had something to add?
Yeah, this is one of my favorites because it's one of the most important things to do to make AI smart. Copilot can come up with things, give me an idea for a marketing campaign, where we're, a plumber and we're going to be, promoting, making sure that, your exterior faucets, whatever the hell it happens to be. So the idea behind training it means that for simple things, so when you sit down to go create content for a marketing campaign, whatever it happens to be, emails or otherwise, if it's been trained to know your color palette, your logos, what you've done previously, maybe you give it some of those images and say, this is something we did in the past, and I want to kind of stick with this particular theme. That's all stuff it can learn. And then, unlike when you're dealing with human beings, it doesn't forget anything like that. So if you said, my logo can only be presented in a particular way, that's what it will do once it's been trained. So super powerful part of starting to use an AI or a large language chat-based interface is training it so that it's smart when you ask it a question and you don't have to continually upload your content and say, no, use my logo. Here it is. Once you give it to it, it's got it, good to go.
Right. Yeah. When you think about it from a training perspective, right now, kind of the older way of doing things, best case scenario, you hire somebody to come in and do marketing your company. Best case scenario is there is a PDF somewhere with logos. If you're really lucky, official company colors, right? Maybe some vague messaging strategy that could all be lost, which happen. I mean, totally doesn't happen, but it could happen. A lot of that information goes away if you have somebody who changes roles, if somebody leaves your company. Right now, you can accomplish all of that essentially instantly by just loading up your website's URL in Copilot, and it can synthesize all of that information and heck, create that documentation for you. But it also trains it to sound exactly like you have been sounding if you want to just automate what you're already doing.
It's a lot less
Sec,
work, way
yeah,
less work.
exactly. Second thing, it does, Copilot specifically, it does a fantastic job of is A/B testing or tweaking your existing messaging. We know that the way you schedule your call to actions, the content that you put out in front of clients changes constantly. Right now, your best bet is what? Focus group. Maybe you sit down at your computer, your marketing person lines up a bunch of different messages, and then they run them for 30 days and they see what sticks. Right now, you can put those different options into Copilot, and it will let you know based off of industry standard what the best options are. It's a fantastic way to venture into changing the way your company messages and to build off of your existing marketing without it taking 30 to 90 days. Instead, it can take 30 to 90 seconds.
My A/B test right now is my 86-year-old mom. If she can understand what we're advertising, then it's a good message.
It is a good message.
And that's not a dig
Unfortunately,
on my mom. That's not a dig on my mom at all. She just doesn't care.
What's okay? So the next thing to talk about a little bit here with how you can build on already what you've got going on with Copilot. It's a fantastic way to see what other people in your industry are doing, synthesized down into one just message, right? So right now, if you were to think about the way your company traditionally looks at what are our competitors doing, what is industry standard, what are other people having success with, your best case scenario is what, Dan? Attending an event and hoping there's a keynote that's good on marketing,
Digging
right? Is
around
that
on
kind of
websites yourself, sitting on your own computer, hoping that when you Google, you find ones that are relevant. Just
right?
gigantically time consuming.
Right, exactly. Right now, one of the things that we've done here that you can do at Copilot, you can have it, hey, go pull me what the industry standards are for other companies in my industry. What are they doing from a marketing perspective? And not only will it pull you messaging, great ideas, it will actually link to the content itself. That's something you might see a little bit here later in our demo, but it will actually show you the post that it's basing that information off of. So not only does it not hallucinate anything, but it tells on itself. So if you sit there and you say, really? That's what all of my competitors are doing? You can actually go look right inside Copilot and see what's going on. And
I
the
know.
fourth and perhaps coolest thing that solves a lot of just marketing, just getting the ball rolling, making sure it's always happening. You can have your Copilot set up all of the timing to perform all of these functions automatically, right? So you can tell, hey, I want you to write 4 blog posts a week. I want you to base them off of the things that we've already been doing. I want the message to change based off of maybe it's seasonal work, maybe it's based off of some type of industry website or magazine, something that you follow. And I want you to have them ready for me every single Monday at 10 a.m. It can do that right now. Before having something like Copilot do that, best case scenario, you're remembering to do it once a month with a calendar invite, right? That things never get pushed on a calendar, right? So it's such a big Just it's 100% efficient to that timing
And
every single
and when
time.
you're talking about this, just from a visualization standpoint, when you say Copilot, this is either Copilot. Well, let's say you use HubSpot, a popular marketing platform. It's a website you go log into if you don't if some of you aren't familiar. You go log into it and it's got your customer or your prospect lists in it, and you can create emails in there. You can use it as a customer relationship management tool, so you can reach out to these people and it tracks that you did. And Copilot's interaction with HubSpot is you can either use what AI tool is built into HubSpot, or you can have Copilot go use HubSpot for you.
Right. Yeah. And what makes it so such a unique way to do it by having the AI is you can have it ready to go in a HubSpot ready format. It is not the way people are picturing ChatGPT, where it produces the text and you have to copy and paste. And some of the emojis that it gives you in ChatGPT aren't the same as what's on Facebook, isn't the same as what's on LinkedIn, and isn't the same as what's on X. It can have it in a CSV file ready to import directly to your HubSpot calendar in seconds, something that alone takes a lot of time to set up. So it can be it can be both within the software and without. But what makes it so great is that it's one interface for you to do the work in either way.
Right on.
Perfect. So now let's look at it. If you were going to start AI marketing from scratch, if you were just going to, your marketing was going to be a AI based approach, how would you handle that? So first, some stats here. 88% of marketers are already using some version of AI in their roles. So if you are in that 12%, your competition is doing it faster, more accurately, more personalized, and that just seems so silly. So I would definitely recommend giving it a shot. But first things first, what can it do to create from scratch? It can create the entire plan. If you're not sure where to ask or where to start, ask Copilot. Things like industry, what market you're in, what your goals are. Those are the things that you need to get a plan started. We've covered topics like that and how we set up prompts in previous webinars. Make sure you go check those out if you're interested. But everything from a planning perspective can be handled by Copilot or whatever AI program you're using. Second thing that you can do to get it started from scratch, train the AI with your existing logos. If you're not at logo, color, messaging stage, this might not be the webinar for you. But if you already got an existing company out there, all you need is the logo and what you want your messaging to look like. It can create all of these different, like marketing collateral on its own. It can create the call to actions that resonate with whatever your target market is. It is not the kind of thing that you need to babysit anymore. When we started doing this webinar series, it was AI can maybe get you 60% of the way there, closer to 95 now. It is so incredibly good at being able to fine tune the messaging to your target market. It might even be better than marketing that you're already doing. And the last
Solid
thing I would,
chance, I think, for most of us, especially when you can get organized behind it.
right, absolutely. And then the final thing here, we Dan touched on a little bit earlier, but take advantage of the tools your vendors already have. Maybe you're using graphics design software like Canva or email software like MailChimp or like Dan mentioned, HubSpot CRM. All of these tools, and you're going to see it if it's not in every tool out there now, it's going to be shortly. They already have some version of AI built into them. Now, the perk to doing something like Copilot is you can apply it uniformly across every software program that you're running. So you're not having to manage multiple AI things. But if it's something as simple as, hey, we want to start using AI to just take a piece of the marketing work while we try and figure out other things, there are tools out there and typically built into your softwares that can do that. Dan, are we ready to jump into the demo? I know we're kind of running on
Yeah,
time
one
with
thing that I'll
smidge.
just put a yeah, one thing I'll just put a pin in it on as far as the reason we keep saying Copilot. Copilot's way out ahead of all other AI vendors in terms of integrating with business systems and keeping your data safe. So if you have Microsoft 365, and I would think at this point most companies do, getting Copilot onto your desktop is a matter of purchasing a license. You then have Copilot, and it comes with all of this super great tool functionality and ability to reach into other pieces of software. IT departments have to be a part of making sure that it stays secure and that it's locked down the way that it's supposed to be. But you don't have to go find other tools to get it started doing marketing for you. And so the reason we're always pushing it is, can ChatGPT and these other AI LLMs, large language stuff, chatbot style tools do these kinds of things? Sort of, But now you're talking about a third-party tool that's outside your network. It's not as secure. It's not as integrated with everything that you already have. And it's less controllable in terms of what it does with the data. So even if it does have that same thing where you can go talk to it about marketing, Copilot's engine is ChatGPT, but it's bolted onto your security and your cybersecurity, and it's contained within your business. So we're pushing Copilot because for companies, it's just a better way to go.
Right. And you can see at the top of my screen here, there are work and there are web adaptations of Copilot. What we're going to show here, starting from scratch, obviously, if you're not putting a bunch of training material into it, you're going to have to use the web version. But you can run Copilot essentially as an internal employee without pulling any external data whatsoever. And that just makes it much more practical for the kind of use cases that we're talking about here. But let's just to kind of keep it brief, we'll just kind of start with a little bit of a plan that Copilot put together for you. So I'm going to come up with a fake company name here quick, and we will get started. Let's see. Damien's Diamond seems like a good one. I like the alliteration.
I'm not even going to ask if they're the blood diamond type.
They might be. I mean, we'll see what Copilot comes up with as a good business plan, right? All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in company name, market that we're targeting for, and a locale. We're going to ask it to give us the first 5 things we should start doing with our marketing. Everyone's going to see my poor typing on display as well, which is always the fun part of doing something like this live.
I'm not judging at all.
So what it's going to do right away, you're going to see it's going to try and start something from scratch. So what it's going to do when it goes out to the web is it is going to go and pull information and ideas from companies that fit the demographic we're looking for, right? So smaller business, local, what does that messaging look like? What does the target market, what do they like to see? What do those call to actions look like? And how should we start kind of with that 5-step program here? And then you're going to see at the bottom, it's going to suggest the next things we should do here for it. So I'm going to kind of speed this up a little bit since I know we're pressing for time, but I'm going to ask it to give me a 20-day social media calendar ready to go in CSV format for HubSpot. So I'm going to give it that directive. I'm going to tell it the format that I want the file in. I'm going to tell it how I want it, because one of the cool things about Copilot is if you're wrong, it will actually jump in and ask you if you're sure. I know we've run into that with a few other agents, but it's actually going to give me just a CSV file ready to go that I can, of course, in this example, using HubSpot, I can download this file and upload it straight to HubSpot. So we just saw within under 3 minutes, we've now got a 20-day social media plan ready to upload directly into our social media calendar that can move forward with this. Next thing we can look at, Dan, I mean, do you want to look at any things like blog posts or anything while we've got it here? I know we're a little bit past time.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So if you are like Silicon Plains, you post 4 blogs a month. And that is so we can do it every single Monday, right? During the non-holiday weeks. So we will kind of do the same thing here. What I love so much about Copilot too is I can ask it to do online research for me built into this at the same time. So I will say, give me 4 blogs for young couples that answer engagement, ring, frequently asked questions. So now it's going to do the research. It's going to ask what are the 5 most common engagement ring frequently asked questions. That's going to do wonders for your things like search engine status. And you can see here at the bottom, it already gives me the suggestions. Do you want it as a downloadable PDF? Do you have customer testimonials you want to add? So no matter what stage of marketing your company is at, it will tell you, hey, these things could be fantastic value adds. For the sake of just kind of, moving this along a little bit, we'll just create a downloadable PDF version. And if you are working on a platform like, say, for example, WordPress, which the majority of people are, I can upload this PDF right into WordPress and it will post them for me. So in under 4 minutes, we've got a month's worth of blog and social media content tailored to the frequently asked questions in our market for the specific industry. And this is just a rushed example of the kind of things you can do with Copilot right now to just totally move through with AI. Are we ready for the Q&A at the end here, Dan? I know we got a couple of questions.
Go for it.
All right, perfect. So if I can get the webinar pulled back up. There we go. All right. So that kind of wraps that up a little bit. I know we were a little bit rushed there, but if you've got any questions, raise your hand, drop them in the Q&A section at the bottom. But we did have a couple of questions come in ahead of time, Dan, that I think we should address here. So the first question I got is, how long until AI can log into my software and just do the work for me? So I don't know if you want to take this one or if you want me to jump in on it.
I'm going to put you on the spot this time. Go for it.
Yeah, so there are limited what Copilot calls actions. And it can perform actions such as logging into a website and doing work for you right now with one small hiccup, and that is that it cannot bypass multi-factor authentication.
That's
So
correct.
you are required to either sit there on standby for when your AI agent needs you, because you have to respond to those within 90 seconds, or in May, Copilot is releasing fully agentic AI that will allow it to work basically as a virtual browser. Of course, in a secured environment, you can give it access to your multi-factor system, and it will be able to log in itself and perform all tasks 24/7 as you instruct it in under 6 months. So that is how quickly this is moving. It was something that we talked about as a fun future hypothetical about 4 months ago,
And here it
and
is.
it is going to be here. So it's going to be the kind of thing you're going to start seeing getting pushed everywhere as we head into quarter 1 of next year. It's something that, I mean, a simple license from your existing IT team can get turned on for you, but it is coming quicker than
So,
maybe people are
Damien,
ready for it.
so do people then sit in front of that chat interface like we just did and create this marketing plan? And do they follow that up by telling ChatGPT in May, go ahead and log into the website on these particular days and upload this content?
Yeah, so company, you're gonna have a couple of different options. What's going to be the best but most difficult setup option is going to be to create the agent in Copilot Studio. So that is actually included in your Copilot licensing subscription. You have to log in, you have to instruct it basically like you would an employee. You're going to want to tell it, I want you to make these many blog posts a month, base it off of this, publish them every Monday at 10 a.m., alert me if there are any problems. You'll have to give it the login information to whatever your blog posting platform is,
Which it steps you through and asks, right?
which it steps you through and asks. Yep, and that was
Yeah.
something that we walked through kind of step by step during our proposal creation webinar as well. So make sure you guys check those out if you haven't already seen them on our YouTube hit channel. But the setup's going to be the hardest part, right? But once it's set up, it can run indefinitely on whatever timeline you tell it to. You can live check its progress through a little window that's going to pop up on it the same way you can through the ones that ChatGPT is previewing, and be able to. The smartest thing to do when you're setting it up is to either have your IT team help build in fail safes or tell your agent to reach out to you before it publishes anything, right? Those are the kind of things that you're going to see very soon with it integrating with things like Copilot, with it integrating things like into Teams and things like Outlook. It will be able to message you when it runs into problems. It is not something that is just going to run autonomously in the background. It can do that, but to set it up responsibly, you're going to want to be able to have it reach out to you the same way an internal employee would. Hey, I ran into a problem.
Absolutely.
Hey, this, link in this blog post didn't work. Hey, whatever the case might be, it'll be able to operate essentially as a licensed employee, which is going to be really
Exactly.
interesting.
That's a great point. Just as a side note, too, every company out there that is producing large language AI models, when it comes to policy and the way that they suggest you use and create rules around the use of it, is this concept called human in the loop. That no AI LLM type integration, having something post to a website should be doing that without a person double checking the work as
Right.
part
And
of the
that's
process.
right. And that's what's such a benefit to Copilot specifically because it ties into all of your existing Microsoft tools. It can be tied into your email, your phone's mobile Teams app, whatever. Everyone's using Microsoft tools, right? Maybe it's just Excel, whatever it is. But its ability to stop and reach out to you as it performs functions the same way an employee would is what is separating that tool apart from something like ChatGPT, which will run wild until you tell it not to for how the agents are set up
True
now.
story.
And that's such a, just from a, we've practiced with it internally here, seeing what website edits can be done in ChatGPT, and we had to undo the whole thing and go back because it just kept going even after it was told not to. So definitely something to keep in mind.
It's still
Uh,
some work there. Yeah.
yeah. There are some tweaks yet, and then that kind of falls into the second question we've got, which is what are the limits to the marketing functions it can perform? And just what I would say about that is there are still limits to some of the more complicated data analysis it can do within vendor tools, right? So, for example, it can create really good workflows. I wouldn't recommend having it segment data for you, right? So the things that require um, just personal kind of judgment calls, your AI agent's going to act exactly to the letter of the law every single time. That's what they're there to do, right? So there will be some more complicated things, maybe some, for companies that like to do edgy marketing. AI might take that a little too far sometimes, right? Depending on what your target
Right.
market is. So there will be things that, like Deanna mentioned, human in the loop. It's not going to be all that different from double checking existing marketing teams' work, right? Approvals, things like that will still happen. It's just going to be the speed and consistency at which the work can be done that is going to be totally different. I mean, it's something you can have it run work at 6 a.m. before you're even in the office and have things on your desk by 8, and it will do it every single time.
Exactly right.
Perfect. Well, Dan, that was the only other question we had. I'm not seeing anything new in the Q&A. Was there anything you want to touch on before we wrap up?
I think what I hope through going through this example of a real business function versus just chatting with an LLM, with the chatbot style AI, that the folks watching start to see where integrating this within your business with the software you're already using is really where you start to save a ton of time. It doesn't always have to be used to go create images that are creative and amazing and put your head on a donkey and whatever else that people do with these tools. It can really do this mundane, boring, horrible work like poking around in a marketing software, creating a schedule. You saw us do that in 3 minutes, ready to upload, and HubSpot and tools like that, and file, import, take the file that it gave you, and you're done. Something that would have in the past taken days, maybe a week or two, now takes minutes. So that's something that it's capable of doing right now today. So as a person thinks about what am I doing with efficiencies in the business, marketing is one of those areas where the software is pretty painful to use most of the time, and being able to couple that creativity with efficiency and then rank content out that you would have done anyway, but it would have taken way longer. We're there today. Use it today.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say from a marketing perspective, it's an opportunity to do all of the creative things that right now take businesses just too much time,
Yeah.
right? Maybe it's a special campaign. Maybe it's something you want to do over the holidays, but your team's already at the maximum it can. You can train it with your existing colors or existing messaging and create fully ready to go marketing campaigns in minutes, right? And that's just something that used to take teams of people days to do. But as we kind of wrap up here, the next webinar, November Thursday, November 20th, same time, is actually going to be kind of taking these marketing concepts and going a little bit deeper. We're actually going to show you how Silicon Plain sets up some of our sales and marketing workflows. We're going to do a live kind of walkthrough how we use AI to get those going, what it looks like, the kind of results that we get from there. And it's going to be a little bit of a peek behind the curtain, right? So it
It
should be a
is.
really
And
good
that's
time.
that's the stuff that's exciting because I think a lot of businesses don't have this capability now where you send out an email and you know that the email was clicked and it was opened a certain number of times. You're able to go through that data and see what's working on all of your social media posts and use AI to make all of that super easy. So it's that real kind of marketing where you can see the effectiveness of the time you're spending trying to reach out to your prospect clients.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be something that we don't show a ton of internal Silicon Plains data for obvious reasons, and so it is going to be an awesome way for us to kind of show you this is how we do it now. This is what it looks like when it's actually in place. And these are the kind of results you can expect. But with that, everybody, thank you very much for attending, and we will see you next time.
Bye bye.